When I leave Southern California, I'm going to Northern California, and I'm gonna go visit my friend Tyler. Now, Tyler's a jack of all trades. I actually met him and Demar at the same conference, and we just kind of hit it off. You know, he reminds me a lot of my like really good friends. And what I really admire about Tyler is that like when he picks something, like he's not gonna let anything stop him from doing that. And that's the kind of like determination that allows you to take control of your own life. Now you have to be responsible for you're responsible for all the bad things that happen too. It's not just, you know, like you get to pick all the good stuff, but you feel better about those decisions when you're making those decisions and you're making the failures based on decisions you made and not what you thought somebody else would do or you think something else should be, you know? And so Tyler, you know, wants to go to Vegas and he's gonna gamble, wants to do, you know, this treacherous, I forgot how many days hike it was. He's gonna like do this hike. Like he gets out there and he does all the stuff. He's always taking control. Now he decided that he's gonna do like web design and things like that. And I love that about him. I love his tenaciousness to just go out and just meet challenges. He's done a bunch of adventure races. I'm not doing those. You know what I mean? God bless. Like I've done enough burpees for the rest of my life. I don't need to do any more burpees. But like he loves doing this stuff, and he's such the people person. He's like never met a stranger. He's so gracious. I'm so grateful. He took me to a basketball game. I mean, like how amazing. I mean, you know, on the UCLA campus, so cool. Tyler, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Do you still paint like the top of your head with that like smiley face?
I mean, I do when I do races, but I haven't done a race in a while. But yeah, I have like a whole like board of just like all of them.
How many have you done? How many races have you done? And then how many times, well, you paint your head every single time?
So most of them were the Spartan races because like your number was your headband.
Right.
So from 2016, 2019, I think I did 120 of them.
That's crazy, dude.
And then I did like adventure races, half marathons, 10Ks, 5Ks. It was kind of crazy. I was doing like, I was overtraining, man. Like, but I make the joke that like when you do a Spartan race, depending on the length, right? If it's a sprint, super, or beast, like you could do 3 miles and then before they like regulated the distances, some of them are like 18 miles. Your sunblock runs off. I'm gonna have like melanoma smiley head. Like when I'm like 55, you watch.
It's gonna be like all freckles, so just like a freckle smiley on top of your head.
But yeah, man, like I was like big time into that, and then COVID kind of, I mean, like so many things kind of just put the kibosh on it. I got burnt out, and then you know, not trying to knock Spartan, but they changed they regulated it, like they don't even do burpees if you miss an obstacle anymore.
Oh, like, I now want to do it. I remember the first time the only time I did a Spartan race, like I messed up on something. They're like, you're gonna do 15 burpees. I was like, see you later.
Was that in Austin?
Yeah, and I was just like, I pay for this. I'm not doing burpees. I'm not paying to do burpees unless I'm being trained.
I did a Spartan in Austin. It was on a ranch.
Oh yeah, it's probably the same one.
It was a lightning storm.
Oh no, it was a nice day.
So this one was crazy. Like it was an 8 mile, it was a super. And I just remember the ranch was like, it was just a one-way road each way, like 2-lane, you know. And my friend Jim, who lives in Austin, my old college roommate, he couldn't get there. It was such backup, and I was gonna miss my start time, and I was like 2 miles. I'm like, dude, I gotta go. And I got out of the car and just ran to the track, like putting on stuff as I go, and then finished. But there was like massive lightning storm. I remember I got 4 miles in, and the guy's like, hey man, there's lightning, like you can still do the course, but it's probably not going to be an official time. I was like, hey man, I flew all the way out here, like I'm going for it, like outrunning cows, and it was fun. But yeah, that was the big, like 16 to 2019, like my good friend Regan up here was like my trainer, one of my coworkers. He's like one of the original Spartan coaches.
Oh,
so
wow.
He got me into it. I don't want to say I was his first Spartan client, but I think I was the one that he put the most work into. So kind of like just changed my life. And like for me, it was like a cool way to like travel the country and just, you know, do something fit. It was fun. But I destroyed my body, man.
Yeah.
So much running and so much burpees. Like every time you missed an obstacle, it was 30 burpees. the goal every race was to run clean races, which I did a couple.
Is that a clean races if you do no burpees?
You don't mess any obstacle up. Yep. And then like it's kind of a bummer. Now they do like age group. Not that like the results matter. You know, you finish it, that's a big deal. But like now, like if you are in the top 3 in your age group and you get like, you know, you get the hardware, right? And like before they started doing that, like I'm looking at all my results, I'm like, man, I was a badass. Like I was like always placing top 5 in my age group every race for those 3 years. It's crazy to think.
Have you always been into outdoor? Because you said you went hiking today, right?
Yeah, well, I did like there's like a little hill out here called Tarantula Hill. Mm-hmm. It's like a half mile up, half mile down. It's like it's a paved road, but it's to a water reservoir. Just put on a backpack and hiked up, push-ups, hiked down, push-ups for 3 miles. No, man, high school, I grew up kind of like the fat chubby kid. Got picked on a lot, got bullied a lot, got beat up a lot. Got like hardware in my face from getting beat up. Like half my face is metal.
Man,
it's pretty rad. I'll have to send you the.
You're like Iron Man,
dude. No, it's like Terminator. I'll have to send you the X-ray. Wanted to play soccer, but when I got beat up, the school was like, we can't allow you to play soccer because if you hit the ball, like technically, if I got hit there hard enough, it could probably kill me.
Dang.
But they're like, yeah, we don't want you to head the ball. And the funny story is, like in high school, I got 2 concussions getting elbowed in the face in the post, right? So. It's like I was just having this conversation yesterday with somebody about how awesome it would be to have like the resources, like what we do, training people. Mm-hmm. I wish I had someone like me or you when I was a kid to like I can only imagine.
That's what I tell my kids that I work with. I go, you're lucky you have me. Like kids didn't have people like me whenever they were.
Everybody told me hit the weight room, and like, what do you do as a bro? You're like, okay, biceps, best. You're trying to like Chris Farley. You know what I mean? Like, it was so. I also, like in high school, I was like straight edge, never drank, didn't really go out much because I didn't realize it at the time, but I was like friends with everybody. But like, you know, sometimes you go out with one person, another group of friends gets. So I was kind of like stayed at home, played video games with my friend Joe, watched movies. You know, I had girlfriends and stuff, but and then in college. I actually kind of got recruited by my college for a different thing, not basketball. I got recruited for dance.
No way.
Yeah, so random. You know how like college applications you put like your hobbies, and I put dance. I love Michael Jackson, right? I love doing that. So I used to like like Will Smith's Men in Black video. Like I used to just imitate it, and like you probably still do it. And like I just put that, and then like I remember my senior year in high school, I started getting all these like cards from the dance team, and they're like, hey, your birthday is the same day as our final show in December, like you should come down. Like they literally like
recruiting you
basically. Yeah, so I went down, and my mom came down, and it was awesome. It was a modern show, like modern dance show. It was awesome. And like my grandmother, before she passed away, she came down too, and then I got to go back and meet everybody. And of course, it was my birthday. They had a birthday cake for me. Dang. And it's all these dance girls, and I'm like, damn, they're all really hot. And then one of the girls who was like, she's gonna be a senior next year, she's like, are you gay? And I go, no. And she goes, awesome. I'm like, oh, awesome. Like, so like when I went,
better than her going like, darn. Like,
yeah. So when I got to Plymouth, like I started doing that, and then I just remember my freshman year, like some of the dance team like finally convinced me to like drink, and then that changed everything.
Yeah. My life is downhill.
But yeah, so like I think throughout college, like I still played basketball, and I started lifting, but again, I had no idea what I was doing. My roommate at the time I think he was, and Eric will probably watch this, but I think he was third place Mr. Massachusetts in college.
Oh wow!
Like he got big, and so I'd lift with him, but I didn't like. I was taking just too much protein. I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
And and then when I graduated college, I was pushing like on 280, but like 280 with no muscle mass, just like a skinny guy that was just big. And then, yeah, I mean, fast forward, I guess that my first year teaching, I ended up breaking my ankle really bad, to the point where I was on crutches the whole summer and part of the next school year, and I mentally couldn't do it. So my principal was like, take a year off. I ended up moving back to Vermont, and but that summer kind of got me into doing different things to keep my competitiveness. So I was playing chess, started playing poker, and it's just so funny that ankle break when you look back at events. It's like, man, that that one bad event, which I thought was a horrible time, like I wouldn't be here if that had never happened.
Look at Michael Jordan.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy the similarities between y'all's lives.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, it's nuts. Like, I fell in love with poker, and ended up moving to Vegas to play full time, which, I mean, I still play, but not for a living anymore. But yeah, and then when I was living in Vegas for a while, and then moving back, and I was super unhealthy. And then this is what got me into the training aspect. There was a boot camp. That was like when boot camps were like the phase, right? Like there was a boot camp everywhere. And one of my high school friends, she was doing it, and she had dropped a lot of weight. She like transformed her body. She looked amazing. She's like, you should come. I think I was like 25 at the time. Still have that Superman complex. Like, I'm still fit, but I'm not. And yeah, I remember the first class, within the first 10 minutes, I puked.
Dang.
And I was like, all right. And he's like, you gonna come back tomorrow? I was like, yeah, I'll come back tomorrow. And I got partnered up with this woman, Joan, 68-year-old woman, always wore crazy like knee-high socks. And like the format was super easy. It was 30 on, 30 off. You're both doing exercise and you just swap. One was doing push-ups, one was doing goblet squats. So he was like, yeah, like grab your kettlebell. So I'm thinking I'm badass. I grab like an 18-pound kettlebell. She grabs like a 35, and she's 68. So I'm doing squats, and on like squat 5, my legs are burning, and she's on her toes, looking at me, cheering me on. 30 seconds, just doing straight push-ups. She's like, you're doing wonderful. And I'm like, wow, like this woman's, you look at her, she's looking like an average woman. We switched. I got to like 3 push-ups, and I had to like go to my knees. And that was like my moment. I was like, nope, not having it. Like, this is, not to sound like machismo or whatever. I'm like, but no 68-year-old woman should be beating a 25-year-old guy in push-ups. Like, just, it shouldn't be. That was like 100%. My thing. So I told the guy that owned it, I was like, yeah, man, I'm going to like be your boot camper of the year. I'm going to make your wall of fame. Like, I'm going to like drop 70 pounds. And like, and he's like, okay, yeah. But I don't think he believed me. 7 months later, everything came to fruition. And then he was like, you want a job? I was like, sure. And of course, like with our industry, like you don't have to be certified, which that's a whole nother topic. But I was like, well, I want to be. So I ended up doing NSCA, like studying on my own for the whole summer, and passed. And then after a few years back home, I was just like, yeah, it's too small, too small. Not enough stuff to do. I didn't feel like I could grow anymore. So I made my second, I guess, move across country, and that's when I came out here, which is crazy. It's 12 years ago. 12 years in a month. It's nuts. But I came out here to kind of like pursue that career. And then when I got out here, that's when I met Regan at the gym I was at. And yeah, I just looked at it because Regan's an actor. Like, I guarantee you, like if I pulled up a video, you'd be like, oh my God, I see him all the time. Like, he had his own show at Disney and all this stuff. And but he like completely transformed his body, and like, I don't know, he's 57 now, and like, I'm like, dude, I think 20-year-olds would kill for what he looks like. So he like basically trained me. We would do 2 days a week for the first month. And then like what he'd do is he'd train me Monday, Tuesday the next month, and he goes, all right, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you're doing the same workout. Tuesday, Thursday, you're doing the same workout. And then Sundays, you're going to do run club. And then I told him, I was like, hey man, you ever done World Championships for Spartan? He's like, no. I was like, let's do it. So like we put a lot of work in, and then like as soon as he did one, I'm like, oh, I want to do another one. And then they used to make it cheap. It used to be like, you pay $1,000 and you could do unlimited races for the year. So like if I go somewhere like Austin, I did 3 in 2 days. I was like, I just got to get my money's worth. That was like the whole thing. And like, yeah, definitely the best shape of my life. But when I took the time off, I felt my body being like, thanks. And now I'm going to make sure I'm hurt. So I can't put that much. It was just that overtraining thing. And then, yeah, 2019, I think, was my last Spartan. And then I started I left the job and I helped open up a YMCA around here. And then COVID hit and it kind of ruined everything. Like, everything shut down. And the other gym I was at, I was training some people, training an NBA athlete, training a whole bunch of people in boot camps. That place just was not run right. And I was like, you know what, bucket list time. Like, I want to go do this hike. And my friend Molly, my best friend from high school, it's his ex-wife Molly. She's actually from California, of all places. she had just got done serving like 6 years in the Army. I think she was an Army nurse, and she had done it when she got back. And I was like, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. It's like, I want to do that one day. And then when all this stuff happened, it was like the REI sale. Like I got like $6,000 worth of gear for like $1,300. Had never done an overnight thing in my life, and I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna go. And it's funny, my girlfriend Tara, like she was supportive, and then when I was getting ready to go, like a couple days before, she's like, I don't want you to go. And I'm like, hey, like things are in motion, things are paid for, I'm going. And I remember got there, started hiking. On day 3, I got really sick, altitude sickness, and I got to a point I could have gotten off the trail, but I went 4 miles more, and I got service, and I texted her, and I was like, hey, like, I think I want to come home. She's like, you can't come home until you finish. And it was the push I needed. And that's where I did the Colorado Trail. That was 519 miles in 28 days.
Wow.
Life-changing experience. Absolutely life-changing experience. Highly recommend if you're kind of like everybody has their thing, but if you're like don't know what to do, or you're like in this like weird, I mean, COVID, right? Like we're all dealing with different ways. I was just like, yeah, let's go do something. Anyway.
Tell me about it. Tell me about the experience, how it changed you.
Well, again, I had never done an overnight hike at all. So I got I got 55 pounds worth of crap in my bag, way too much. So I didn't even know how to pack. Like it's like that whole thing. Like people are like, oh, there's animals. So I had like this Rambo knife on my backpack strap. I took double or triple of everything, thinking like you never know. And right off the bat, I just remember I got gnarly blisters. My legs were tired. I was tired, but like, I was like, I also had like, we have a guidebook, and I was like, all right, I gotta get to here, get to there. And like the first day, I remember being super nervous. I'd never done a bear hang before for my stuff. I was around an eclectic mix of people. Like there was a guy that literally had a bag, like he had a shotgun and a gun on my own. Like we're hiking, man. Like what? Like I don't. Then there was like your total like, you know, your hiking hippies.
He brought water. That's it. Like he didn't bring
yeah.
it.
Like
He's barefooted and brought water.
Yeah, there's a guy hiking in Tevas, and like I'm like, damn, man. And like, so you just, you know, the first day was nerve wracking. I did like 16 miles. My food survived. Packed up. Hiked the next day, and that's when I got the second day of this hike. That was like the test of fortitude. It was like I think 18 miles, and there's I think 10 or 11 miles where it's a burn area, so there's no shade, no water, and it was 90 something degrees. Sun's beating down on you. And I remember getting through it all, and there was like a volunteer firehouse that they let hikers fill up their water. And I remember being so sick, and I was just like, I didn't want to eat. And I hiked further in, and I had met this guy Dave on that day, and we ended up camping in the same spot with these 2 other girls. And I just remember setting up my tent. I felt so sick, and I just remember I was like, guys, I'll be right back. And I went out in the woods and just started puking, and like could not stop, to the point where I was dry heaving, and I just went to my tent and was just like, and I didn't want to do. That's when I had the whole like, you know, don't finish, you know, don't come home until you finish. But he like gave me some Gatorade packets, and he's like, hey man, you need electrolytes. Like you'd think with all my racing and stuff I would know this, and I didn't even think of that. Like that wasn't something I thought about. And by day 4, I started feeling good. And the first, I think 7 days in, like we got to Breckenridge, which is the first 100 miles. And I knew I was going to take a couple days to just recover, do a couple 0 days. And I've been hiking with this Dave guy, and like he's cool. Like we're sharing music and just stories. And he had done so many hikes. I learned a lot from him in that first few days. And I remember getting to Breckenridge, and I just was like, you appreciate things so much more. I remember getting there, and the first thing I wanted a root beer, and I wanted a calzone. That's all I wanted. Got there, had that, like just totally stuffed my face. Got the hotel, and then taking a shower was the
Best.
most unbelievable thing. And you just realize, like, man, we take so much for granted. And you just like, I think that just that first 7 days, you start to realize, like, man, there's so many things we should be thankful for that we're not.
Yeah.
So. Unfortunately, Dave ended up getting a stress fracture in his foot, so he didn't get to finish. So we didn't hike together, but we camped together. So on the first day, like going back out, I was waiting for him, and I got service, and he's like, "Hey man, like I can't go. I'm in a boot." And I'm like, "Bummer." So that next week, the next quarter, I met some people, some college kids that were like super fast. They're kind of elitist hikers thinking they were all that. It was just a lot awkward. I was like in that weird,
They're
like,
you when you were 25.
yeah. And it was fine. Like, it was nice to see familiar faces, but like, um, I remember I got to this, I met this guy, we called him Tex, his name's Austin, he actually lives in Austin, and hiked with him and a couple other guys for a while, and we got to this place called Twin Lakes, and that was when I finally felt like, okay, there's a community here. So like, there was a guy who had a grilled cheese truck, random story, from my high school.
Wow.
Been doing it for years. Like, he was like a few years ahead of me, but I was like, man, it's so random. Like, I knew who he was. So we had to get grilled cheese, we're drinking beer, and we thought we could camp at this place, and they're like, no, it's COVID, like, you're not allowed to stay. And we're like, dude, we're all shit faced. Like, are you kidding me? So we had like 10 more miles to get away where we could camp. And that's where I kind of started meeting the group I had. And that we got to the Collegiate West Loop, which was probably the hardest part of the entire hike. Like Hope Pass, which I also did this summer. It's a 4,000 foot incline in like 2.8 miles.
Wow.
And people are like, what's that like? And I'm like, it's not switchback. It's
straight
and
up.
I'm like, imagine being on a stair climber for like 4 or 5 hours, skipping 2 steps at a time. It's brutal. But you get there and the views were just like, it was like one of those things, like, you're just like, wow, I am the smallest thing on this planet, you know? And then you just kind of like, I don't know, you just start thinking. I think by this time I had already had 2 breakdowns, the emotional enema. But like, it's soul cleansing. I think you have to think when you're hiking, like here, if like we're having a bad day, I'm like, hey man, like I'm gonna go work out, or I'm gonna call a friend, go grab a beer, I'm gonna go watch a movie. Like, you can shelf your problems. When you're hiking, there's nothing else to do but walk, and you have to talk through it and get through it. So you start to like think about things, and you have to face your problems, and you start coming up with solutions. Then you start putting in stress. Is it really that bad? And then like, you know, like you start to realize like, yep, I've survived 100% of my bad days, you know? So things like that. But then when we finished the collegiate, West Loop, that we got to the halfway point, Salida. It's really rad, small town in Colorado. And I just remember I was buying the beer for the bunch of the guys that we're all with, and I came back and they're all talking, and as soon as I got there, they all stopped talking. And I'm like, guys, what's going on? They're like, no, we're good. I'm like, you're clearly talking about me. I'm not that stupid. And they're like, yeah, we were making a bet. And I'm like, well, what's the bet? And they all bet against me. They all said that, because they saw my struggles for the first 2 weeks. Like my feet were all blistered. I was struggling. I wasn't really eating much because I didn't feel well. And they're like, yeah, we don't think you're going to make it. I was like, well, let's make a deal. I'm like, what? I was like, I will pay for everything tonight. If I don't make it, I will pay each of you guys, like, I forgot how much money it was. And they're like, and if you make it, from here on out, you pay for everything for me. I will keep your receipt. And they're like, deal. I was like, all right, well, now I'm motivated. So like, we got to like Silverton, and like I ended up staying in like a hotel, and like got like the grand suite, and like, but like, it was just really neat to see, like, it's short term because it was 28 days. So after day 14, like my legs were underneath me. So instead of doing like 16 to 18 miles a day, like I started doing like 22, 25 miles a day.
That quickly.
And you just kind of see, like, when you put work and consistency, and even though it's a small sample size, it's like, wow, this shit really does work. Like, and you just start to realize, like, again, trying to help people, it's like, you got to tell them, like, just, you don't have to be perfect, just be consistent.
Yeah.
And I ended up coming with this crew. I met this girl from Amsterdam, Sarah, and then Gabe, who lived in Durango, which is where the trail ended, and this kid Satchel, which is funny. Like, when you're hiking, they give you trail names, and his name was actually Satchel, and so we named his trail name was Tom. He hated it.
That's funny.
But like we didn't hike together, but we always camped, and like I still text him a lot. Awesome. But yeah, I think, you know, you just put things in perspective when you do something like that. But I think that kind of put clarity in my head. Like, I want to do, instead of doing like the comfortable, familiar things, I think it's always fun to do something new.
Okay, so I have a question for you, and that's like, that perfectly kind of leads into it, right? So you said that you're finding by doing all these things that are constantly challenging you, that it's providing something for you, right? And so this podcast tour thing that I'm doing, I'm trying, this podcast is it's a passion thing. This is not something that like pays my bills. I mean, it's something that funnels my business in some level, but like, it's really because like I want to do it. And I've been really trying to think about like, why am I doing this? Like, what does it mean to me? And I answer these questions to myself like in this way. And so if you don't mind, what I'd really like you to speak to is what does, doing this, stretching yourself, doing these challenges and like, trying not to be comfortable, what does it provide for you that, money can't buy? Like what is the passion behind that makes it so great for you?
So I've thought about this a lot. This will kind of lead into it. So like I have some friends that are like doing extremely well career-wise, wealth-wise. I got the house, I got the cars, I got the RV, the motorcycles, like different properties. And I'm just like, man, I don't got anything like that. And my best friend Chris, I remember I had this conversation with him. He was just like, yeah, but dude, you have no commitments. You can do you're able to do these things. He's like, I have to like put so many hours in for all this stuff. He's like, I kind of trap myself. And that's when I kind of realized like there's different types of wealth. Like some people really like monetary material things. For me, it's very simple. I don't buy it all the time, but I like my watches. I like my shoes. And I used to have a Jeep Wrangler. That was my luxury. And then, those are the three things I'm like, that's really the material things I care about. My wealth is my experiences. Like, so I'd like to think when I go out with friends or I go home, go visit, like when I work at the bar, when I help my bartend, like I got stories. Like that's just so much fun to share. So like, I think that's like, I kind of think about like, that's my wealth. Like, let's do these new experiences and you only live once. And I think part of that's fueled by my mom, single mom, just her and I. Dad's never been in the picture. She worked 3 jobs to provide for me. And, like we struggled a lot when we were younger. Like I remember there was one day, this is like one of my first memories. She was crying and I was like, what's going on? And it was something I didn't understand, some adult thing. It was probably a bill. And I just knew it was about money. And I just had my birthday. Of course, family members write you a check for like $10, $25. And I had this piggy bank and I'm like, here. And she's like, okay, like we were a team. And I think seeing her struggle, she always kind of put my hand, she's like, you can do whatever you want, experience new things. And my mom didn't really have that opportunity because she was working so hard to provide for me. So like, it's one of those things like I try to do things I do it for people who can't. That's like my thing. But what I noticed, like when I took the leap to move out here, I literally just picked up and moved out here. I had a friend in Carpinteria, 50 miles north of here. She let me stay at her house until I was on my feet. But I was commuting to the Stevenson crew like you met when we were in New York. But like, I went a whole year out here with no bed. I was barely making ends meet. Some days I wouldn't eat, but like I was, by being kind of starved of certain things, like I was motivated to just like, all right, I didn't want to be comfortable. So I was driven, I was motivated. And
it's
then
like the races are the same
yeah,
way, right?
Same thing. And like, that kind of starts to turn into a snowball. And to be honest, like I've kind of felt like lately, the last, we'll go since COVID, since that hike, there's a lot of things that kind of did not go my way. Dealt with a lot of depression, didn't want to admit it, but I got comfortable in certain things like, oh, I'm making ends meet, I'm comfortable, but I wasn't driven. So like this last year has been like kind of like I'm trying to like rebuild myself up. Like I'm not in the shape, not even close to the shape I was like when I met you or when I was doing these races. Like depression just hit me. I was like, screw it, drink some whiskey, eat whatever I want. My workouts, like I know that's like the best medicine, but like I would get through like, I'd have my whole workout on the board and I'd get to the first like 2 of like 5 things I need to do and I'm like, I'm good.
It's hard when you're struggling mentally.
Yeah. So I think for me, especially as I'm getting older too, which is, it's weird to even talk about. Like I never thought of that, but
Bro,
like,
tell me about it.
The gray and all that stuff. But like, I just think you need that next thing to challenge yourself. And I don't really know what that is right now. I think maybe it's the new business I started. but like I'm a true believer that like doing something active just sets your whole day, man. Like there's fitness, right? Like you don't have to be like a superstar athlete, or you can be a weekend warrior or whatever, but like I did not want to work out today. I'm not gonna lie, I was tired. Then I was like, all right, I got a few hours before we're supposed to meet. I was like, I'll go do a 30-pound ruck for 3 miles up and down a hill and push-ups. And like I came out, I'm in a great mood.
Yeah.
So I just think for me, it's just, I've had to tailor the bar. Like this past weekend was the New York City Marathon. I'm like, I think I want to do that. And I'm like, is it realistic that I can do that next year? Maybe. But I got to like plan. But like, it's kind of fun to start planning that. You kind of you see the end goal and you just do like the short term and like, can I make this happen? You're in the laboratory figuring things out. So
it sounds like a lot of these adventures it sounds weird, but it gives you purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it gives you something to engage in yourself, to improve yourself, to challenge yourself, to, you talk about that while you're on this, like it's just you and your feet and the road,
Mm-hmm.
and you really think about a lot of stuff. I've gotten real big in going on walks, not long walks, like a mile or two, right? And I just realized that as much as I think even more when I'm on these walks. I process even more on these walks, and it's really important to make that investment.
Yeah. I also, like, one of my favorite sayings is like, I want to inspire and be inspired. So like, I don't look at myself as like this crazy amazing athlete. Like I don't have any like big accolades. Like, I didn't win like a college championship in basketball. You know what I mean? Like, but I think I would like to think that the people that knew me growing up and kind of saw where I was and where I've been to and like what I was capable of, like I think people just like I try to instill like we're all capable of things if we just
do them,
put the work in, and be consistent. And I don't know. And then I just started working with clients that like my favorite is like these clients are like in their 50s and 60s. They're like, oh man, my life's over. And it's like, it's just starting, guys. And you see
that's where all this that you're talking about really pays off for them in the aging process.
Yeah, like you can just like, I don't know, I just try to lead by example, I guess. Like,
Sure.
I'm big on styles of leadership. I've never been the talk and do. Like I've always been like let's do it together. Let me show it. Like let me get my hands dirty with you. And I just feel like that's always how I got motivated. So I always like try to do this for my clients to be like, okay, like if you can do it, I can do it. And that's what I always try. Like, yeah, like I show pictures of like when I was in college and I was over 300 pounds, super large, and then I show people pictures of like when I was in high school and super skinny, which I thought I was super out of shape because I didn't have the six pack, but I was like a stick, and then people like now, like I'm not even close to where I want to be now, but I'm just like, you're still capable of doing things.
You became the old lady doing push-ups. You became that motivating old lady.
That's a really good thing to think about. Yeah. I mean, she inspired the hell out of me for that.
Yeah, amazingly.
But yeah, I just think it's got to just push yourself to the next level. Like, it doesn't have to be one-upping a previous level, but just
a little bit every
progress,
day.
right?
A little bit every day.
And like
a dripping faucet to fill up a bucket. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I've been trying to get back into an old mantra. Like the last, like that's what was it, 2025. So like the last 5 years, I've really dealt with a lot of internal issues. But like, I'm trying to get back. Like, if I'm gonna fall, just fall forward. Like, don't fall back, fall forward. So like, progress is still progress.
Well, man, I'm so grateful that you agreed to meet me and hang out, and we're gonna hang out tomorrow. Thank you for taking this basketball game. I'm saying on video. Thank you for taking my basketball game.
It's gonna be fun, man.
I really appreciate it. We're gonna have a good time. You know what comes next? You give me a hug.
Oh yeah, man. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Thanks so much. Awesome.
All right.